Yo, guys, it's your boy Bernard, and welcome to another episode of the Angry Blurred podcast, where I'll be discussing everything nerdy that has caught my eye this week. I am literally recording this supposed to upload because people, don't know how to plan properly. So, I'm supposed to record in Lauderdale with Samir since he's in town for a wedding and celebrating in the Eid with his family. But, not his fault. It's DJ's. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and get into these stories. First off, I gotta give a rest in peace to Chuck Norris. Chuck Norris was an actor, a martial artist who we've all either seen a movie or a TV show with him in it. A lot of people may know him from Walker, Texas Ranger. Right now he was a 10th degree black belt in American Tang Soo Do. 8th degree black belt in Taekwondo. 8th degree black belt in Kyokushin Budokai, 5th degree black belt in karate, 3rd degree black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. He had a black belt in judo. But some of the movies we may know him from: Delta Force, one of my favorite childhood movies, Sidekicks, rest in peace, Jonathan Rembrandt, the Mission in Action franchise. Didn't even know Delta Force was a franchise. He did 2 of them. Played himself in Dodgeball, Top Dog, The Expendables 2. He did a movie that's coming out next year with Vanilla Ice called Zombie Plane, but he is playing himself in that movie. Did a movie in 2024 called Action Recon. Showed up on Hawaii Five-0, The Goldbergs. So yeah. Complicated history with Chuck Norris. Just because he was one of those people who was just a diehard conservative, but that's neither here nor there. But passed away at the age of 86, a few days before after his birthday. So his family put out a statement a day later. It said, it is with heavy hearts that our family shares the sudden passing of our beloved Chuck Norris yesterday morning. While we would like to keep the circumstances private, please know that he was surrounded by his family and was at peace. To the world, he was a martial artist, actor, and a symbol of strength. To us, he was a devoted husband, a loving father and grandfather, an incredible brother in the heart of our family. He lived his life with faith, purpose, and unwavering commitment to the people he loved. Through his work, discipline, and kindness, he inspired millions around the world and left a lasting impact on so many lives. While our hearts were broken, we are deeply grateful for the life he lived and the unforgettable moments we were blessed to share with him. The love and support he received from fans around the world meant so much to him, and our family is truly thankful for it. To him, you were not just fans, you were his friends. We know many of you have heard about his recent hospitalization, and we are grateful for the prayers and support you sent his way. As we grieve this loss, we kindly ask for privacy for our family during this time. Thank you for loving him with us. With love, the Norris family. So yeah, he was hospitalized, I believe that Wednesday, after climbing a volcano in Hawaii on his birthday. Birthday was the 10th. Check that real quick. Yeah, the 10th. So yeah, I gotta give a rest in peace to him. Another one. This one just came out of right field. I recall him having health problems, but I thought, he would have gotten better. But Nicholas Brendon passed away at the age of 54 years old. Everybody may know Nicholas Brendon for playing Xander on Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I never remember Xander's last name, but he was a part of the Scooby Gang. He was Buffy's friend who had a crush on her. Then, she curved him. Xander Harris, that's what it was. Apparently, he was having heart issues. He was also on Criminal Minds for 7 years. I really don't know much besides those two TV shows because I didn't see any of the movies he was in. Apparently, he was in Children of the Corn 3, but he was an extra. He played basketball player 1. He was on a show called Faking It on MTV. Wait, did I watch? Yeah, I did watch Faking It. I just don't remember him on there. On a few episodes of Private Practice. He was on American Dragon Jake Long as a voice actor. I did watch American Dragon Jake Long. No, let me stop. But yeah, he died of natural causes in his sleep on March 20th in San Francisco. A lot of his Buffy co-stars like Allison Hannigan, Sarah Michelle Gellar, David Boreanaz, James Marsters, and Emma Caulfield paid tributes on social media. I'm trying to see if I can find any of their tributes. Okay, Sarah Michelle Gellar actually said, I guess this is a quote from the show. He said, "They'll never know how tough it is to be the one who isn't chosen, to live so near the spotlight and never step in it. But I know I see more than anybody realizes because nobody's watching me. I saw you, Nikki." So yeah, I know you are a piece in that big rocking chair in the sky. Freaking Entertainment Weekly. All right. Allison Hannigan said, "My sweet Nikki, thank you for years of laughter, love, and Dodgers." I guess he got her into the LA Dodgers, and she also said, "I will think of you every time I see a rocking chair. I love you. Rest in peace." And his family put out a statement on Friday that said, "We are heartbroken to share the passing of our brother and son, Nicholas Brendon. He passed in his sleep of natural causes. Most people know Nicky for his work as an actor and for the characters he brought to life over the years. In the recent years, Nicky has found his passion in painting and art. Nicky loved to share his enthusiastic talent with family, friends, and fans. He was passionate, sensitive, and endlessly driven to create. Those who truly knew him understood that his art was one of the purest reflections of who he was." Yeah, but they also said, while it's no secret that Nicholas had struggles in the past, he was on medications and treatments to manage his diagnosis. He was optimistic about the future at the time of his passing. Our family asks for privacy during this time as we grieve his loss and celebrate the life of a man who lived with intensity, imagination, and heart. Thank you to everyone who has shown love and support. So yeah, honestly, 54. I said 54. Yeah, 54 is honestly too young to be passing from heart issues. Yeah, apparently he also had cardia equine. Oh no, it's a condition that occurs when the bundle of nerves below the end of the spinal cord is damaged. Signs and symptoms include low back pain, pain that radiates down the leg, numbness around the anus, and loss of bowel or bladder. Big grief. So yeah, rest in peace to him. All right. This one actually happened yesterday, so if I would have recorded on Saturday, wouldn't have got this one out until next week. Sam Kieth, who was the creator of The Max and Sandman, has passed away at the age of 63 years old. So I didn't read The Max. I watched the cartoon on MTV, so that was my introduction of the Max. I don't think he. No, wait. So yeah, apparently Sam passed away on the 15th of March after suffering from Lewy body dementia, which is basically a degenerative disease described as a combination of Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. Sam Kieth, although like I never read anything that he drew, like his art always stood out to me. Like I don't think he was drawing really by the time I got around to doing to buying comics. Ooh. But yeah, I always remember seeing that one Max and Batman crossover that he did. But yeah, I mean, like I said, I never read any of his stuff. Like I didn't read The Sandman. I'm actually going to his filmography. I mean his Wikipedia real quick to make sure. because it was just DC and Dark Horse. Um, I didn't read Batman Confidential, Thunder Agents. No, I didn't. No Manhunter, Infinity Inc. But yeah, I didn't. Unfortunately, I never consumed any of the comics that he drew. So yeah, unfortunately, gotta give a rest in peace to Chuck Norris, Nicholas Brendon, and Sam. All right, so my first story is actually about lanterns. So this has like kind of exploded on the internet. I think it's pretty much tempered down now after the week. Um, so we all know the lanterns trailer dropped, and you know, the internet was divisive on it. It's like, yo, where's the green and whatnot? So Grant Morrison, comic book writer, very long, prolific career. Um, his writing gives me an aneurysm sometimes, especially after all the Batman RIPD stuff and whatnot. So he's on Substack, like pretty much everybody is, and he's wrote a Substack post called "Woke War 3." I'm not gonna read the whole thing. I'm just gonna basically go into a breakdown that I saw on the internet. Um, and this all basically blew up on St. Patrick's Day. So Grant Morrison basically said, "Why hire somebody?" Um, after Damon Lindelof made a joke about, not the reason why the show isn't called Green Lanterns, it's because that just sounds stupid. So Grant Morrison was like, "Why hire somebody who isn't going to be true to the property and make fun of it?" So um, here's a little snippet of the Substack. He said, "TV writer producer Damon Lindelof's comments notwithstanding, the Green and Green Lanterns is not stupid. Why does a writer attach himself to this kind of narrative if he thinks it's fundamentally stupid? You don't hand CSI scripts to patronizing writers who condemn forensic experts and their haircuts as stupid. So why hire people who are ashamed and in denial about the comic book material they've been assigned to develop? Why don't they turn down jobs they're not suited for? It's not like he needs the money. And Lindelof has proven that he can come up with his own ideas. What is this shockish dismissal of superhero conventions intended to prove anyway? Does Lindelof imagine it makes him seem less nerdy? It's a bit too late for that. So what's it all about? The only people who give a fuck about the Lantern TV show are Green Lantern fans. Why alienate them from the start? That feels more stupid. So he also said that Green Lanterns is much more evocative and is a much more evocative and drama title than Lanterns. Just as Raise the Red Lantern is a better movie than Raise the Lantern, and anyone who can grasp why this shouldn't be anywhere near superhero stories, this show might even be good. But how much better could it be if studios are willing to hire the right people for the job instead of phoning their embarrassed friends to water the source material down? Hollywood will die in ancillary and inbreeding. So Damon Lindelof got the I guess somebody sent him the Substack, and he said, "I've upset Grant Morrison, which means I have now pissed off the most brilliant British Scottish comic writers that I grew up idolizing." To quote the bard Otis Redding, "This is nobody's fault but my own." I made a dumb joke on a comedy podcast, and I'm not going to bob and weave about the context. The joke was dumb. The fandom is not. I owe them an explanation and a genuine reflection of my actual feelings. Right? Heads up, Grant Morrison is non-binary, so that's why he's saying them. So he said, "For the first time I appeared at a Comic Con. It was for the Lost Pilot back in the summer of 2004. I wore my favorite T-shirt as I had long grown out of my favorite underoos. Those being the uniform of Hal Jordan, Green Lantern, in section 2814. For a quiet, uncoordinated kid, there was nothing cooler than a hero whose superpower was his imagination. And green is not stupid. It's my lifelong favorite color, and I have a questionnaire that I filled out in third grade to prove it. Green is fucking awesome. More importantly, it would be a betrayal to everyone that I've worked for and alongside to say anything other than I was absolutely on part of the team that manifested this incredible construct that is Lanterns, because it was sloppy and careless with my words, ironic, considering I care so much about Hal, John, and the entire Corps, and I can and will be better to be worthy of the oath. Until then, let the show speak for itself, and I can't wait for you all to hear what it has to say. So, no kickback from Grant Morrison just yet. So yeah, it's what happens when you go on podcast. You say some shit, you might trigger somebody, and they write a fucking dissertation saying that, hey, he's a fucking idiot. He doesn't need to work in Hollywood. Or, he's going to be responsible for the downfall of Hollywood. And Grant Morrison is entitled to their opinion, but I mean, David Lindelof's work speaks for itself. If I'm not mistaken, he did the Watchmen series on HBO, like continued the work from the comic from the 80s, which I tried to read but couldn't. Grant Moore, yeah, he did do Watchmen. Alan Moore, not feeling it. Also, The Leftovers, bro. Anyway, I'm gonna take a break. Hit your W ad, and I'll be right back. This episode is brought to you by Dubby. Dubby gives you focus and energy without the crash and jitters. It has no sugar, fillers, or artificial dyes. Mix 1 packet or scoop into 8 or 12 ounces of water. Stir or shake well. Some powderiness is normal, and it has all the important vitamins. So this has vitamin C, B3, B6, and B12. And it's made from coffee fruit extract. So drink it and go conquer a task. And go to debbie.gg and use my promo code AngryBlurred10 at checkout to save 10% on your order. That's debbie.gg with promo code AngryBlurred10. Right back. All right, I'm back. You might hear my aunt in the background because she's in her room being loud as shit, knowing I'm recording, but old people gotta have a phone on speaker and be talking loud as fuck. Anyway, my next story is in regards to GameStop. I got a little triggered from this and don't know why, but GameStop has officially declared that PS3, Xbox 360, and Wii U are officially retro consoles. So they said the GameStop issued an official declaration that Sony PlayStation 3, Xbox 360, and Nintendo Wii U are, for all practical purposes, now officially retro consoles. I'm going to read this, and I saw this. I was like, you what? All right. The ruling has reached the following careful analysis of multiple indicators, including the presence of component cables, the lack of Fortnite, and the realization that they launched when George W. Bush was still president. Under GameStop's retro classification standard, the aforementioned systems will now join the ranks of beloved legacy hardware in the retro category, such as the Sega Saturn and Nintendo DS. In accordance with this design, GameStop will run the retro trade-in bonus retro trade-in bonus offer now through March 21st, which was Saturday. Customers who bring in Wii U, Xbox 360, PlayStation 3, or any other older consoles, games, or accessories will be rewarded with an additional 10% in trade-in credit. Additionally, GameStop is pleased to announce GameStop is pleased to accept stores now accept defective retro consoles on trade. Customers may now trade in these historic artifacts, even if they're non-operable, missing accessories, or aesthetically unfortunate. They just need to power on. GameStop would also like to remind the public that while these systems are now officially classified as retro, they are still very cool. And anyone who owned one at launch is absolutely not old. So they didn't have to throw in that last part there because the PS3 came out in 2006. Let's say my nephew was like 20 something. He was born in 2000, so he had a PS3 when he was like 9. He's not old. I'm not old. GameStop, fuck you. Okay, I'm not old. But the classification, because component cables and the lack of Fortnite, I believe the PS3 and the Xbox 360 could play Fortnite. The Wii U, I'm not sure. I'm gonna actually double check this. But I saw that. I'm like, really? No, apparently Fortnite is not available, supported, or playable on the PS3. The game requires modern hardware and constant updates. PS3 cannot handle which the PS3 cannot handle, limiting it to consoles for PS4 and PS5. While early 2017's version existed, the game was never released on PS4. Hmm. When the fuck did Fortnite come out? Because I could have sworn it was on the PS3 as well. Oh, 2017. Hmm. Learn something new every day. All right, but yeah, the component cable thing is dumb because the PS3 had a port for component cables in HDMI, just same as the Xbox 360. I can't speak on behalf of the Wii U, but those systems were like they were the first systems to have HDMI ports. And I was actually having this discussion with Samir. I'm like, isn't an HDMI cable technically a component cable? And I looked it up, and apparently it's not. So, whatever. GameStop, y'all suck. I'm not old. I refuse. All right. So this is my next story, and it is in regards to the Buffy pilot spinoff reboot revival. I told you got Buffy New Sunnydale. We got some more explanation as why the show was scrapped. So Variety did some digging after Sarah Michelle Gellar was on Sirius XM, talking about what happened. And Sarah Michelle Gellar basically said there was like this one producer on the show who never watched the original series. He didn't get the concept of Buffy as a character or the story, and he was just like, "I'm done." And I guess he was like the linchpin in it. But apparently, Variety did this deep dive into like scoopers and whatnot, like insiders, and they were like, Chloe Zhao's prestigious skills as a director don't lend themselves to a television pilot that requires a lot of exposition. It was undershot, and there wasn't any coverage. That one source said so. They would have had to reshoot some of the pilot anyway. The performances from the actors playing new characters who need to make a strong impression as they were introduced were underdirected, and Kieran Reiner Armstrong, who is playing the Nova, has a very young appearance. I mean, she just turned 16. So basically, at this point, it's like a bunch of nitpicks. So it seems like they didn't want to have anybody who was a minor, because then you can't overwork them. You don't want an Academy Award winning director to work on your show, but it's just a messy situation. And honestly, it would be real funny if like Hulu picked this up or something like that. I mean, not Hulu, Netflix, or can Buffy go to Paramount? I know is it even still a Warner Brothers property at this point? I feel like it's still a Warner Brothers television property, so I can take it to HBO Max or something. I don't know. But it's just dumb. Like, oh, I don't get the concept of Buffy. Go read the Wikipedia article. Whatever. Anyway, next story. The live action Scooby-Doo. We got our Scooby Gang casted. So Abby Ryder Forston will be playing Velma. Never heard of her. Maxwell Jenkins will be playing Fred. Never heard of him. Tanner Hagen will be playing Shaggy. Never heard of him. The only one I've heard of is McKenna Grace, who will be playing Daphne. Everybody's mad because Daphne. I don't know why people think Daphne is a ginger. Daphne is a blonde. And McKenna Grace is blonde. They're like, why can't they ever get a redhead? I'm like, when was the last time you watched Scooby-Doo? Daphne's always been blonde. She wasn't like a bleach blonde like Fred. So yeah. Hopefully they don't Riverdale this to the point where it's just campy as shit. But I'm gonna check it out whenever, we get the trailer. It's probably gonna be like 2027, 2028. Yeah, that's it for that. All right, so if you are a fan of owning physical media like me, y'all know the deal. On the shelf behind me my Blu-rays and whatnot. I'll unblur this for a minute. Boom. I told you guys Stranger Things was getting a physical release, and that will be coming out through Arrow Video. Though unfortunately, no digital code that comes with that. So they are releasing 4 versions of the Stranger Things complete series on 4K Blu-ray and Blu-ray. So you got your standard Blu-ray for Stranger Things, which is $110. Let me actually click on this real quick, because then that way I can give you guys the breakdown of what's in what. All right. So it says a love letter to the 80s classic genre films that captivated a generation. Stranger Things is a thrilling drama set in a seemingly normal Midwestern town of Hawkins, Indiana. Blah, 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 blah. You know all that. So here we go. It's 25 disc special edition, 1080p Blu-ray presentation of all 42 episodes of the series across 5 seasons and 25 discs. Original DTS HD MA 5.1 surround sound. Stereo for all episodes plus additional Dolby Atmos for seasons 4 and 5. Obviously subtitles, optimal English subtitles for deaf and hearing impaired. Optimal audio, description tracks, interviews with cast and crew, behind the scenes featurettes, set tours, bloopers, image galleries, trailers, collector's booklet, reversible sleeves featuring all new artwork by I guess Kyle Lambert, who worked on the series posters, and a double-sided poster featuring original artwork by Kyle Lambert. All right. So the complete deluxe edition, you're going to have all that as well. 4K is still 25 discs, but you will also get an adhesive Hellfire patch, a Hellfire Club 20-sided dice, 25 art cards from all 5 seasons, 5 double-sided posters with art from Kyle Lambert, reversible sleeves featuring art by Juan Ramos and Kyle Lambert, a double-sided fold-out Hawkins map, and a 148-page perfect bound art book, including original design sketches, concept art, storyboards, and new writing from the Duffer Brothers, Sean Levy, Andrew Stanton, and more. So the price range is fairly reasonable. So Stranger Things Complete Series Blu-ray is $180. Stranger Things Complete 4K regular edition, $200. Now, if you want to get the deluxe edition Blu-ray, that's $215, and the 4K Blu-ray is $230. These are going to be selling out fast. I'm probably going to pre-order mine when I get paid in about a week or so. And I like Arrow Video. Like, they do like a lot of good stuff. I wish I was able to get their Donnie Darko 4K. Is it still available? I think it's still available. Shit, it's still available. I'm going to get this despite the fact that that movie gives me an aneurysm every time I watch it. All right. Also, another one. Told you guys, I think like a year ago, Voltron got delisted from Netflix. So I think the only place you can buy it was like Amazon and Apple. But it's getting a physical release that actually comes out on March 31st. And the thing that makes me mad is not even the price, it's the quality. It is 2026. Why are we still releasing things that were released released in HD on DVD? I get it, it's a little bit cheaper, but 4K all the way. Nobody buys DVDs anymore. Like, I don't know the last time I bought a DVD, honestly. And I mean just a regular DVD, not when Blu-rays came with the DVD copy as well, which they don't really do anymore. I think like Marvel does it if you buy like the standard Blu-ray and not the 4K, because if you buy the 4K, you get the 4K in the regular Blu-ray. But I don't know, man. I'm gonna have to skip on that Voltron. As much as I like the show, but I'm not doing that. All right. So, trailer reactions. I'm going to talk about Dune 3 first because, I don't really care about Dune 3. It is what it is. It looked good. All I know is it's 17 years after Dune 2, and this is obviously an adaptation of Dune Messiah, which basically see Paul Atreides dealing with the consequences of being emperor, as well as the burdens of being a father. I don't know if they're actually going to show Paul's son Leto in this, but as far as I know, from what people have told me, they've changed a few things from like the part two. Like Zendaya's character was supposed to stay with him as opposed to leaving, but apparently she comes back. Um, and apparently Rebecca Ferguson's back, and she said she's only got like one scene. Anya Taylor Joy is in here as Paul's baby sister. And everybody's like, yeah, nobody knows where Josh Brolin is, but Robert Pattinson's obviously in here. I'm like, okay, Dune fans, y'all can eat. I will be going to watch Doomsday, despite the fact that it will not be released in IMAX theaters, because Dune Part 3 is basically taking that window, and everybody's like, oh, somebody's got to move. Doomsday's got to move. No, it doesn't. We'll be fine. All right. Spider-Man, brand new day. We are here, baby. So, I am a diehard Spider-Man fan, as you guys all know. And I don't know what storyline we're going with this, but obviously Peter's going through growing pains as an adult. No Stark Tech. I will honestly say the one thing I do miss about the Stark Tech, moving lenses. It's got no moving lenses unless like they didn't put them in this trailer. Because I watched it like 5 times. I'm like, damn, no moving lenses. So he's like Andrew and Tom. Toby. So everyone's flipping out over the fact that Peter has a Samsung Z360. I don't know what the hell the phone is, but anyway, payment plan. Simple as that. What are we talking about? Peter seems to be going through an evolution in this. We saw Sadie Sink, but we didn't see Sadie Sink. Saw Tremel Tillman, who plays a character in the comics whose name I can't remember. Sorry about that. I dropped the flash drive. Who goes around rounding up mutants. So that doesn't help with the rumors that Sadie Sink is playing Jean Grey. I don't think she's playing Jean Grey, honestly. There is a Spider-Man arc that came out around the time Avengers Disassemble came out. It was in the Sensational Spider-Man. It was written by Paul Jenkins with art by Humberto Ramos. It was called Spider-Man Disassemble. Spider-Man actually fights a super soldier who actually has the power to control like the insect brain of people. I can't remember her name, but she was called the Queen. Let me look this up real quick. So I can't find her. But she actually took control of, oh, here we go. Anya Soria, Spider Queen. So yeah, this was during the Spectacular Spider-Man. So this is like 2004. This was like right after Spider-Man 2, or around the time it came out. So yeah, you actually found out that she was experimented on, basically like as a Project Rebirth type of situation. And she's able to control people with pheromones, but she also has spider powers, and she was looking for a mate, and she found Peter, basically turned him into a spider, made him go through a rebirth, kind of like what they're hitting with this movie. And Peter gets organic webbing and gets a whole lot stronger. I don't really remember why they kind of 80-60 organic webbing in this and then did it like 2 years later in the other. But it seems like that is the main story. I don't know like if Sadie just didn't want to dye her hair black. But I really feel like she's playing Anna Cirillo, who actually has ties with Captain America, but they're not going to touch on that in this movie since, Steve Rogers decided to turn into Joe Biden. And a lot of people also thinking maybe it's the other. Maybe she's playing Shafra, who is basically Peter's antithesis. But I don't think we're going to touch on the other anytime soon, because that story is kind of long and convoluted. We would have to introduce Morlun and the Inheritors and whatnot, and we honestly do not have the time for that. Because I really think Tom's going to do 2 more movies, and then he's going to go off into the sunset. The man is 29 years old. He did say something like a decade ago about his career has failed if he's still playing Spider-Man by the time he's 30. But I don't know. We obviously saw Mark Ruffalo as the Hulk. We saw the Punisher. We saw them basically do the same thing they did with the Spider-Man No Way Home trailer, just kind of edit some people out in the final part of the trailer where it's Spider-Man versus the Hand. And I said this on Twitter, and I think I said it on Instagram. The Hand doesn't show up unless Daredevil is involved in some way, shape, or form. There's never been a single comic with the Hand that I know of that Daredevil didn't show up in some way, shape, or form, or Elektra. And it'd be real crazy to have Elektra show up and help Spider-Man and not Daredevil, especially after Charlie Cox was in Spider-Man No Way Home as his lawyer. But yeah, I can't wait, man. My next story. Speaking of Spider-Man, but kind of sort of not really. Charlie Cox is doing promo for Daredevil Born Again Season 2, which drops this coming Tuesday. And he was asked about, is he in Spider-Man? And he's like, nah, I'm not. And I'm like, I don't know if I believe you. Because Frank's there. And Spider-Man gets the key to the city despite the fact that Wilson Fisk put out a hit on all vigilantes. So obviously something in Season 2 of Daredevil Born Again is going to cause Fisk to lose his power. And we get a new mayor, and superheroes are beloved again. So I really do believe Charlie Cox is going to be in Spider-Man Brand New Day, even if it is just for like one scene. And the good news about this is also they started filming Season 3 of Daredevil Born Again this past Wednesday or Thursday. I don't remember, because Charlie was filming and then he had to fly to LA to go on Kimmel. So yeah, you guys can actually watch the interview of him on Kimmel on the Jimmy Kimmel Live YouTube page, because I am not getting my page flagged for using ABC's content. It's like a 9-minute interview. You guys know how it is with the late shows. Nobody's really there for like a long period of time discussing stuff. All right. Next story is in regards to a comic book that I read about 15, 20 years ago. Got adapted into a live action TV show. They changed a few things, but now it is coming back as an animated series. And that is Powers. So this was written by one of my favorite writers, Brian Michael Bendis, who actually got me into comics with Ultimate Spider-Man, and art by Michael Avon Omi. So Powers is basically Law and Order or any cop procedural, but with superpowers, and takes place in Chicago. One of the cops, Christian Walker, used to be a superhero till he lost his powers. Gets assigned to the Power Division, gets a new partner by the name of Dina Pilgrim. Like I said, this was a show about 10 years ago, maybe 13, something like that. Shalto Copley, who everybody knows from District 9, was in it, and Susan Hayward, who is Sister Sage on The Boys, was on it. And that was my first introduction to her. And I really hope they do this animated series justice. It's coming to Netflix, so Netflix is kind of iffy with their comic properties because they like to change stuff. See Jupiter's Legacy. I didn't watch Super Crooks because I was afraid that they changed so much. So I can't tell you about Super Crooks. All right, my next story. The Last of Us. We got some casting news for Season 3. I know a lot of y'all are like, we don't care because, yeah. Michelle Yao will be playing Yara, and Karina Crater will be playing Lev. So these are two Seraphites who lead their flock. I don't know what the hell they're called. Camp. They're siblings. Lev actually runs around pretending to be a boy because I do believe it's been a minute since I've played The Last of Us Part 2. But Lev decides to pretend to be a boy because I do believe like the girls get sexually assaulted once they hit like a certain age or something like that. I really can't remember the full details because the game came out 6 years ago. But also, um, Jason Ritter has joined the cast as Hanley, who will be a WLF soldier. I don't remember Hanley from the series. I mean, from the game. And Patrick Wilson, who we know from Aquaman, Watchmen. He had a show on, I want to say it was ABC, where he played a doctor. I think it was called Good Man or something like that. Is playing Abby's father. And I'm like, we saw Abby's father. Why not bring that guy back? I get it. He was in the scene for like one scene, so you can kind of work your way around it. Um, but yeah, Patrick Wilson's going to be here just for a few flashback episodes for Abby. And, get up to the point where he gets killed. And unfortunately, like I said, since they didn't have Caitlin Deaver get buff, we're not going to get the flashbacks of that as well, because that's why Abby is so big in the damn game, because she when she found out her father died, she was basically Ellie, like small and skinny, and she used that as motivation to get enough power to basically kill the person who killed her father. But it is what it is, man. My next story is in regards to Sonic the Hedgehog 4. They dropped out a teaser trailer since productions basically started with the cast list. So obviously Ben Schwartz is back. Jim Carrey is returning, despite the fact that we saw Robotnik die. Colleen O'Shaughnessy is back as Tails. Idris Elba is back as Knuckles. Keanu Reeves is back as Shadow. James Marsden and Tika Sumpter, Lee Majub are all back as I can't remember their names. Agent Stone, the Donut Lord, and Pretzel Lady. Kirsten Bell is Amy Rose, as I told you guys a few weeks ago. Matt Berry, Ben Kingsley, Nick Offerman, and Richard Ayoade have all joined the movie. And undisclosed roles. So yeah, there's that. March 19th, 2027. I feel like maybe they're gonna touch on Shadow the Hedgehog, because if y'all watched that little teaser, it said something about like the multiverse or like the future. I can't remember because I watched it once. So maybe we're getting Silver the Hedgehog. I gotta go with the fan theory of whatever Tika Sumpter wears like in the last act. That's gonna be the tease for the character. Because at the end of Sonic 3, she was wearing yellow. We got Tails. At the end of Sonic 2, she was wearing black and red. We got Shadow. And at the end of not season 3. At the end of Sonic 3, she was wearing pink, and we got Amy. So keep an eye out for whatever Tika Sumpter wears. That might be the name of the episode, but that's too long. All right. Next story is actually no next story. We're just going to go ahead and cue up this spoiler alert, and I am going to talk about the first 3 episodes of Invincible. All right, since I did not have this pulled up. Season 4, Episode 1, Making the World a Better Place, directed by Sol Choi and written by Helen Lee. So, Invincible Inc. is still thriving after, everything that happened with Annihilation and Conquest. Cecil has made Britt the leader of the Guardians while bringing the team back in the fold. Mark ends up meeting Dinosaurus on a gig for Invincible Inc., who basically wants to kill him. And he almost kills Dinosaurus once he transforms back into a human. Despite learning that, whoever the human is does not control Dinosaurus. Things get a little bit weird because Eve and Mark go have dinner with her parents, and that becomes a whole situation, which I'm actually going to talk about when I'm done talking about this. The Sequids are getting ready for another invasion. Universal arrives on Earth, basically to drain all the energy from a power plant to save her people. Eve's powers are still kind of glitching. Universa is eventually knocked out by Eve. The Guardians do the whole situation with the Sequids, using like little emitters to basically paralyze them for a second and teleport whoever's affected out. They basically save everybody, but Mark ends up killing Russ Livingston, and Conquest escapes. And Happens basically the same way in the comics, except Cecil was there. He didn't watch it on a monitor. Like he had just teleported there, and you just see him look up and just goes, shit. All right. So I brought this up on the podcast when season 1 dropped, and they changed it. So in the scene where Mark is out with Eve's dad having a cigar, well, he's having a cigar, Mark doesn't. He seems a bit more protective as a father. So I'm going to read to you what he actually says in the comic. All right, so he said, I wanted to thank you. I know that my little angel is no angel. I caught her one time with the long-haired boy, the one that died. He's talking about Rex. You know, she had him living here for a while. We didn't even know. Anyway, I appreciate you giving her a chance, knowing you're not her first. She never really got just how important virginity is to a woman. To a woman. Men feel like they're breaking new ground. They want to be the teachers. They want to be in charge. Hard to do that if there's no corners left unexplored, right? Betsy was a virgin when we got together. You can always tell when they're a virgin. They just act differently, less confident. It's attractive. Don't know if I would have married Betsy had things been different. I didn't like coming in second or third or whatever the case may be. It's good of you to look past my daughter's obvious flaws. Shows character. I respect that. Of course, it's not the end of the world when a woman knows a thing or two, right? So I guess there are positives and negatives.
Bruh.
So I guess they changed this because of the whole manosphere situation. And I honestly wish they would have kept it. Like, because we know Eve's dad is an asshole. That would have clearly showed how much of an asshole he is. Nobody likes that guy. Okay? Like, that is a legit panel from Invincible. I'm actually going to post it. Because I really wanted that to be in the show. So like, because I know people don't like her father, but I just wanted y'all to be like, oh man, he is not shit. So yeah, I'm disappointed that they cut that out. All right, episode 2. I'll give you the grand tour. Directed by Jason Zurich, written by Simon Rapopia. Rasopia. I don't know how to say his name. So basically, this is a Nolan and Allen episode, and this is legit more or less spot for spot with the, I think it was like 2 issues of the comic. So they're on their way to House of Kriya, and Allen basically tells Nolan tells Allen about his Viltrumite upbringing, which, you know, was good because we didn't get a glimpse of Nolan as a child in the comics. So it was, you know, weird to see, like, you know, him fight his father and his mother, but, you know, they went into the backstory of the Scourge virus that basically killed billions of Viltrumites, including his parents, in the Grand Region, who imposed a quarantine, sealed the planet off, and basically ordered the extermination of all the alien slaves who knew about the outbreak. And so then, you know, you find out that Thaddeus was the one who betrayed Emperor Argyle. And then the coalition, the planet, began to gather weapons and allies like the Sinlac Beetles, Space Racer and his gun. That was a very funny scene because that's how it happened in the comic. Then you also find out that Thaddeus was the one who created the Scourge virus and improved it. And, you know, they came to the conclusion that Scourge virus will only be used as a last resort. Meanwhile, Conquest goes back to tell Thrag that he failed. And there's that. Episode 3, I Gotta Get Some Air, directed by Stephanie Gonzaga, written by Ross Stack. So, Machine Head goes to Titan, telling him that Mr. Liu survived and is trying to kill him. Magnatech actually attacks Titan's family at the park. Titan kills him. Mark is dealing with the ramifications of killing Russ, and Eve loses control of her powers. Rex, aka Robot. I'm gonna just call him Robo Rex because although Rex is dead, Rexplode is dead. That was always a weird thing. He vomits a sequid, which Monster Girl kills, leading him to be like, you know what, maybe Mark was right. Titan asks for Invincible to help, but Mark and Eve send Oliver over instead to deal with the whole situation with Mr. Liu. Eve goes to Robot for help about her powers. The Flaxlands have returned to Earth, and Mark shows up. Oliver and Titan fight Mr. Liu as a dragon, while Robot and Monster Girl are going through the gate to get any survivors that the Flaxlands took over. They destroy the gate, but then they get stuck on. They don't destroy the gate. They destroy the thing that keeps them young because they age in rapid time. But then one of the Flaxlands sees Mark heading to the gate, and he destroys the gate. So nobody can come over to their world, which traps Robo-Rex and Monster Girl. So Mark goes and helps Titan and Oliver take out Mr. Liu, and you find out that Machine Head played Liu in Titan, and basically he's got them under their thumb, and boom, you also find out that Eve is pregnant. So we are moving super fast with this series. Like I said, this is season 4. We probably got 2 more seasons. Maybe we'll get 7. I don't know. Yeah, guys, that's it. That was another episode of the Angry Blur podcast. Be sure to rate, review, subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend. Go to w.gg, use my promo code AngryBlur10 at checkout to save 10% on your order. Next week will be episode 4 of Invincible. I think they're only doing a 1 episode drop of Daredevil Born Again if they're smart, and Project Hail Mary. So y'all make sure y'all go see that. All right, peace.